Welcome. Today we're going to talk about Snapchain, which is the underlying decentralized network that powers Farcaster. For those of you who are watching this who don't yet know what Farcaster is, it's a social network that looks a lot like Twitter or X, where it's a largely text-based social network. The two things that are very interesting about Farcaster that set it apart from other social networks are, one, the fact that it's built on crypto primitives. Each user on Farcaster has a crypto wallet, can do blockchain transactions, and you can build lots of cool apps and experiences beyond what you see in a traditional social network because of this composability. And two, Farcaster is built in a way that it's open and programmable. What this means is that you can build multiple different apps and clients that post messages to Farcaster, and they all sort of have equal access to the network. Users are in control of their audiences and always manage their relationship to them, and developers always have access to users, and there's no single central server or entity that decides who gets to talk to whom or who gets kicked out of the network. Now, let me show you a quick example of how Farcaster works before we get into talking about Snapchain. So there's different clients for Farcaster. We'll look at Warpcast, which is one of the clients that we built. And you can kind of see that this looks very much like Twitter. It's a text-based social network. There are some cool apps and things that you can use, which are maybe a little different from what you see on other social networks. Again, this is because it's very programmable and you can build lots of stuff on top of it. Now, what we're going to do is show you how you can make a post in one application, which in this case is Warpcast, and how it shows up in all the other applications you build on Farcaster. So we'll go here and we'll say, hello world. This is a post that I'm going to send. It's going to show up on my account. And if you go to my profile, you can see that it's here. And now we'll go over to Super, which is another popular app on Farcaster. And you can immediately see that this hello world post pops up right here. And if you go to my profile, it's there as well. And what happened under the hood here is that Warpcast and Super are both clients of Farcaster. Each of them is running a Snapchain node sitting under the hood that communicates with the other application. So when I posted hello world on Warpcast, it sent a message down here. This reached the first Snapchain node. This immediately bounced across to Super's Snapchain node and then went all the way up to Super. So each app on Farcaster can just run their own nodes, which gives them permissionless access to the system. Each of these nodes hosts all of the data on the network, is fully permissionless, and anybody can set this up and run it at any time that they like. And that's what makes Farcaster special, which is that you can build on top of this and you have control over the apps and the systems that you build, and no one can take away your access to the network as long as you are running a Snapchain node, which gives you access to the decentralized network. Now, if you've built or worked on these kind of systems before, when you hear that the network is decentralized, there's a few questions that pop up immediately. And sort of the first thing that people think about, well, how does the decentralization actually work? Like, how do users make accounts that are theirs and theirs alone to control? The second question is around authentication. Once you create your account, how does each client or each app know that it's actually Alice or Bob who actually sent out one of these accounts? And what is the mechanism in which they can verify that it actually did come from Alice or Bob in this situation? The third problem that you run into is sort of this traditional tragedy of the commons of most decentralized networks. So you have Warpcast and Super, they're nice, well-behaved clients, but you have a third client that comes along, and this one's not well-behaved. It dumps a lot of data on the network, it doesn't upgrade to the latest protocol formats, it's just sort of messy in a lot of ways and just takes up a lot of the resources of the network, making it hard for Warpcast and Super to integrate with and consume all of the data from the network. And that's a very, very important problem with decentralized networks that we need to solve. And then lastly, the final question is, how do you make this work at scale? When you look at social networks, they have hundreds of millions or billions of users, and decentralized networks traditionally make trade-offs that make them much slower, much more complicated to use. And so what is the actual performance characteristics of this network? What can we do today? And how can we grow and evolve it into something that can truly serve hundreds of millions or billions of users? And we'll cover each of these 4 questions in the follow-on videos in the rest of this series.